I have my reconfigured Flybear Cessna 182 out here today to test out. It is now a 2S brushless power system. I've got a 2S LiPo in it. It's a 60C GNV2S 60C LiPo. Well, it's labeled as a 60C. Okay, so I've had it in the air already. It doesn't seem to be getting any wind mitigation from this gyro I've got installed in it. Doesn't seem to be doing much of anything, but it is what it is. Let's see what we've got. How's that for a climb out? Man, I launched that at 50% throttle. I could probably launch it at 40% throttle. But yeah, it doesn't look to me like I'm getting any wind mitigation at all from that gyro. It looks like full manual mode to me. Almost hover it with as much wind as I've got out here right now, and it's pretty gusty. But I just wanted to bring it out and test it now that I've got it set up with a 2S LiPo. I've got my timer set for 5 minutes. Yeah, see, the way it's getting tossed around, it doesn't look to me like the gyro's doing anything. It looks like full manual mode to me. I did have to bring my CG forward from where I originally had it. I've got approximately 4.5 to 5 grams of nose weight on it now. I think, you know, given the fact that it's handling pretty well, getting tossed around, but it's handling pretty well, I think that's about where the CG needs to be. So it looks like I'm going to be able to use a larger, heavier battery in it so I can remove that nose ballast weight and get longer flight time. It also appears after a 5-minute flight I still had over 3.8 volts per cell. So even with that little tiny LiPo, it seems pretty efficient. It looks like I'm going to be able to get 8 to 9 minutes of flight time, you know, depending on the wind conditions, because most of the time out here this morning I'm using throttle to push against the wind. So in calmer wind conditions I would expect the flight time to be even better. So that really amazed me. I figured after 4 minutes in the air with that little tiny battery I was gonna be down to 3.6 volts per cell. So that really surprised me, that the power system seems to be this efficient on a 2S, and that's the stock 5-inch prop on it. So it does look to me like this is a good airframe, you know, flying it in manual mode out here. And this wind, I would say the wind is 5 to 8 gusting to 10. The last time I had it up to check out my nose ballast weight, the wind just about blew my hat off when I launched it. So quite a bit of wind out here. But it does look to me like that's going to be a pretty stable airframe, even though it's quite a bit heavier than it was. Stock, it was 95 grams all up weight. With the nose ballast weight that I've got in it, plus the 2S LiPo, I'm about 120, here comes the wind. I'm about 120 grams all up weight. But it certainly has plenty of power now, doesn't it? So it looks like it's got plenty of power, and it looks like it's still going to get plenty of flight time. I tested the temperature of the motor and the battery when I landed, and they were warm but not hot. Rolls pretty nice even in the wind. And I didn't have much in the way of forward speed there. I think I've got my linkage on the ailerons for maximum movement. I've got the linkage on the elevator for maximum movement. I don't think I have the rudder set up for maximum movement yet. So I've got some adjustment there if I need it, but I've got plenty of elevator. The aileron, the rolls look good. And I'm surprised, you know, in full manual mode basically, it seems to be handling this wind pretty well for being so light. I'm keeping a little bit of altitude since I haven't had a chance to tune it in this wind. Oh, and that's already been 5 minutes. That went fast. What do you think of that power now? Okay, so do another roll here and then bring it in and see if we can land it. My last landing was about a vertical one. Okay, here we come. Kinda iffy coming in here in full manual mode. Yeah. Pretty iffy. Alright, we're gonna try it one more time. One more time. See if we get a better landing. A vertical one maybe. Alright, that was about 45% throttle on launch. Alright, let me back up a little bit so I can get it in frame. But I think it's a good airframe. I need a little wind mitigation on this lightweight plane. Oh, that's a little better. Okay, so I had it in the air for 6.5 minutes. So let's take a look at the battery real quick and see how much voltage I've got in it. 2S, 350 milliamp hour, 60C LiPo, labeled as a 60C. There it is right there if you can see it. Wow, so I got 7.5 volts, guys, so 3.77, 3.77. I had it in the air for 6.5 minutes, and I still have almost 3.8 volts per cell. I will bring it back out again and test it further when we have calmer wind conditions so I can actually get it tuned out. I'm going to have to take a look at the gyro and find out why it's not giving me any wind mitigation at all. Anyway, that's a wrap on this episode. I'll see you next time in the Tinker's Lab.